Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is Mikael again. This is Path of the Years, Part 2. Uh, Once again, our goal is to find the Path of the Years, the shemitas, the seventh year, and then the 7 times 7, or the 7 shemitas, which makes 49 years, which brings the blowing of the shofar or jubilee, and which will, during the 7th month, it is blown of the 49th year, and the following 50th year is the year of release. And this is the path of the years. This is a picture of Mount Sinai, the writings at Mount Sinai, at the base of the mountain where our people were, where they made the menorah candlestick. This is the candlestick right here. I don't know if you can see my fingers right there. And these are the letters that our people wrote in at the time that Moshe was on the mountain. They were reintroduced to the Katab Alihim, which is also referred to as Yahudit letters, but this is the letters of Saba, or the Sabaean script that our people used at the base of Mount Sinai. Let's get to the board. So the last video we looked at basically from the creation to the 2250th year, and it basically involved all the way up to Israel, or Yaqub, coming into the land of Mitzrayim during the famine. That during the 45th jubilee, we see here, right after the 45th jubilee, Yaqub, or Yasharal, dies in Mitzrayim. This is the 2255th year from the creation. You can find it in Genesis chapter 47 and 28. And I'm trying to keep my light on it. This next one, Joseph dies in Mitzrayim during the 2309th year. 309th year from the creation. You can find this in Genesis chapter 50, verses 22 and verses 26. This is during the 47th Jubilee. And for a long period of time, during the 47th Jubilee, the 48th Jubilee, and the 49th Jubilee, we don't have much information as far as time-wise is concerned from the scriptures. Okay, let's go to the next board. Okay, we're at the 50th Jubilee. We don't have anything there yet. We have 55th, 51st Jubilee. And we get into the trying to tripod here. We have Aaron is born in the 2584th year from the creation, and Pharaoh killed Yasharal's male babies to stop the birth of Masha. This is in Shemot chapter 1. It looks like verse 22. Moshe was born in the 2587th year. It's also, I'll put down Acts chapter 7, verse 23. He was born during the 52nd jubilee. Moshe leaves Mitzrayim at age 40 to Midian. He Acts 7:23. 2627th a year before 2627 years to the creation. Okay, Caleb was born 2629th year from the creation. We got that information from Joshua 14 and 6, verse 24 and 29, chapter 24, verse 29, and Judges chapter 1, verse 12 and 14. And Caleb was born during the 53rd Jubilee. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna drop my tripod real quick. And this is during the 54th Jubilee. 54th Jubilee. Get my reading glasses. I'm getting old. Okay. 54th Jubilee. We have Moshe and Aaron speak to Pharaoh. Moshe is 80 and Aaron is 83. This is in Shemot or Exodus chapter 7, Acts chapter 7 and verse 36. This is the 2667th year from the creation. The next incident, the Torah of Passover, is set on the 9th year. Is set on this night of the evening of the 14th day and 15th day. They eat unleavened bread for 7 yums, or 7 days, in the month Abib, or from full light of the lesser orb of Abib. Exodus or Shemot chapter 12 verse 43 to chapter 13 verse 4 to 4 to 16, and also chapter 23 and 15. Also Leviticus chapter 23, 5 to 8. 5 to 8. This happened in the 2668th year. Also, the 12 tribes of Israel, or Yasharal, walked out of Mitzrayim, or Egypt, 430 years from the same day when Yaqub or Yasharal walked into the land. Now, this scripture, which is Exodus chapter 12, verse 40 and 41, it's very hard to get out of this one, because the 400-year prophecy that we're supposed to be in subjection to a nation and be oppressed under a nation. This shows us that this is not referring to Egypt, the Egypt. This has not been fulfilled yet. The 400-year prophecy has not been fulfilled yet. Now, the tabernacle is reared up in the first day, the first lesser light, second Yom, 2669th year from the creation. You can find this in Exodus or Shemot chapter 40, verse 17, and Numbers chapter 9 or Bamidbar chapter 9, verses 1 through 15. Also during this year, the second lesser light in the 20th Yom left Sinai. They left the Sinai, and then they had the 12 spies that went into the land for 40 days. And so this is in Joshua chapter 14, verse 6. Okay. The picture I showed you earlier, this is the same spot where the tabernacle is reared. They made it up. They built it. They built the menorah candlestick. It was given to Moshe in the pattern while he was in the mountain, Mount Sinai, and that is where we got that from. Now we come over here to the next one. We're in the 55th. Well, actually, it's not the 55th year. 54th jubilee. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Moshe dies at age 120 on the 10th Yom of the 12th lesser light. He died in the end of the year. And 2707th year from the creation. Joshua chapter 1 verse 5 and Deuteronomy 34 and 7 and 8 is where you can find this information at. There was something else too. I don't know if you can see it. I wrote it in pencil, but the shemita and the jubilee rules was given by Yah in Leviticus chapter 25, starting at verse 1, and that happened in the year 2668 from the creation. Okay, so once they entered the land, it says Israel stepped up out of the Jordan River or Jordan River on the 10th of Abib. Circumcision for all men and the 14th of Abib was Pesach. They kept the first Pesach in the land in the 2708th year from the creation. Also, there was the first Sabbath and the first Shemitah was instituted also in Jubilees as well, but it's also in Joshua chapter 5 verse 11 to 12. This happened at the 2708th year that Israel was given the land. We first stepped into the land uh, and you can read about that uh, when they stepped into the land. Okay, so now it says the first shemita after Israel had stepped into the land happened in the 2715th year from the creation. That was the first shemita after Israel stepped into the land. Um, I wanted to say something. I kind of see these as two definite ages. The ages where the jubilees that were before. Um, we came across some scriptures that talked about during those 430 years. Um, Somewhere in there that Yasharal stopped following the commandments that was given to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaqub, and the 12 the 12 the 12 sons of Yasharal, and so that during that time the stars were off. The stars of the sun and the moon. The moon was not keeping the correct days because Israel was not keeping the correct days because during that whole time they were building pyramids for the pharaohs. Now all of those pharaohs starting with the first pyramid, which was made by Yusef for the first pharaoh, for that pharaoh, uh, and since then the other pharaohs oppressed our people. Uh, we'll get into the history of that, and we'll start looking at the scriptures after we get through the timeline, because it's just a lot of information. But I'm trying to get through the timeline. So, in Gilgal, Caleb asked for the mountain Hebron. Caleb is 85 years old, and we can find this in Joshua chapter 14, verse 10. This happened before the first Shemitah, after the age of Israel receiving the land from Yah. Okay, we got the second Shemitah is 2,725. The third Shemitah, 2,736. And then Joshua dies, age 110. We get that from Joshua chapter 24, verse 29. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth Jubilee, the fifth Shemitah. And then we come to the time of the judges, for Elohim is the true high priest of Yasharal, or the king of Yasharal. We see the 2,739th year to the 3,062nd year from the creation. This is in Judges. Gideon said, "Not I will rule over you, not my son. Yahuwah rules over you, or Yah rules over you." That's in Judges chapter 8, verse 23. 2,739th year from the creation that this happened. So basically, at this time, Yasharal is under the rulership of Yah, and our people, our ancestors, are trying to remove Yah from from rulership over them. And this is just the beginning of it. Gideon refused the rulership. He said that Yah is ruling us. This is one of the big mistakes that our ancestors made. Okay. And then the first shemita, it's the 49th, the 7th shemita, which is the 49th year. And then the blowing of the shofar is the jubilee, and the 50th year from the beginning when we first entered the land. This is the first jubilee of the second era. The first era was us not in the land as under the rulership of Yah. It was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then after leaving Mitzrayim, we come back, and once we enter the land, this is the second age. And because our people had stopped following the festivals, and so Yah is getting them started back on it. Okay, so now we're during the time of the second jubilees, while Yahshua's in the land, and this is kind of like time during the judges. We have the second jubilee. The second jubilee is here. I just put two little stars right there in 50. That's the second jubilee. Let's see. And this is the third jubilee. It's the third jubilee. Nothing. We didn't get really anything on the scripture though during that time period. Okay, make sure we got enough light. Okay. Second. Excuse me. This is the let's see, year of the second. I don't know if you can see that. Year of the second jubilee is 2,807th year, and that's back on the other board. Okay, so now we come to the fourth year of the fourth jubilee or jubilees. It's in the year 2,907 is the blowing of the shofar, and then the 50th year. That's the fourth one. Okay. Alright. The fifth one, the fifth jubilees from the entering of Israel into the land was 2,950, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2,956 year, 57th year from the creation. Keep looking. got all the shemitas. All the shemitas. Okay. Saul is born in the 3032nd year from the creation. You can find that in 1 Samuel chapter 13 verse 1. Saul is the first king of Yasharal. We have the seventh jubilee and is in the year 3057 year from the creation. And after that we have an incident that tied to the timeline that Israel rejects Yah. That's my cat, Dawood. He likes jumping on the board. But Yahuwah is their king like the other nations. You can find this in 1 Samuel chapter 8 verses 1 to 22. Saul began his reign at the age of 30. 1 Samuel chapter 13 and 1 in the 3052nd year from the creation. And that's the end of the second board. Also, the 3000th year is right here. This is the third day, according to Yah's eyes. And this is during the time period of the judges. Yah is the king of Yasharal. Until this is a major year in 1 Samuel chapter 13 and 1, when Israel rejects Yah as their king. They want to be like the nations. Okay, this is a big date here for us, for our people. Dawood, can you please stop? Come on, man. Okay, that's my cat. Little kitten.